morning from Singapore. This is my last morning here. Over the past few days since I arrived, I've been getting a lot of questions from people about what is Singapore like? Is it really expensive? How safe is it? What's the food like? And so I thought what I would do is just make a little walk and talk video as I walk around the city, specifically in the Kampong Glam neighborhood where I'm staying. Just to give you my perspective, in 2024, what are the prices like? What's the accommodation like? Did I figure out transportation? No. And do I think Singapore is worth it? So it is a Saturday morning in Kampong Glam. It was one of 4 kampongs that the British, specifically Sir Stamford Raffles, created. Kampongs are a nice way to talk about segregation. And so there were 4 of them in Singapore, and they were divided by ethnicity. So there was Chinese, Malay, Indian, European, and basically you only lived in that neighborhood. This was the Arab Malay one, which is why that beautiful mosque is there, because it is actually the Sultan's mosque. Those kampongs no longer exist. When I first got here, I stayed in a different neighborhood. Where you stay matters. Everyone has their own preference. I like to stay in more local neighborhoods, and I'm not looking for a party. I'm here to eat delicious food, and I want to see how do locals live. So this neighborhood has been perfect. The first 2-3 nights, we stayed in Quay, which is more central. It's by the financial district. It's also really a great location if you want to explore Chinatown, the business district. It's close to the Michelin statue, and then it's not far from Marina Bay or Gardens by the Bay. But the restaurants there are like English-Irish pubs with quiz night and a lot of people in them from Western countries, and some restaurants that are like North Indian, but also Mexican. I don't really understand that. So what are Singaporeans like? I saw that you could properly cross the street, so I had to run and do it because Singaporeans follow the rules. They do not jaywalk, they do not chew gum, they do not raise their voice in public, and getting into a physical altercation with someone is taken very seriously. And so I would say they're very calm, friendly, but not over the top of friendly. Like, you're not in the land of smiles here, but just very calm, peaceful. All right, let's talk about hotels because I can see one right here. The interesting thing about hotels in Singapore is they have hostels, and then they have, I would say, like 5-star or at least 4-star. So you can get hostels for $50, $60 a night. And then you really have to go up to, I think, $200. Because if you try to find a hotel room for, say, $120, and I did try to do that, they appear to be, and have the reviews of, hotels that are $15 in Thailand. People complain about the cleanliness, that they're run down, air conditioners are old and don't work. And so a lot of people who paid in the reviews $150, $200 really regret it staying in those hotels. And that terrifies me. So we made the tough decision of, instead of coming for a couple of nights in Singapore and spending $150, $200 a night, that we would stay for 8 nights in Singapore and stay at a hostel. The hostels here are different, and it's because it is an expensive country. So you're not getting that backpacker crowd that's just looking to party, spend $10 on a dorm room. And they are, I would say, you get an older crowd. But here, the hostels, a lot of them are these capsule hostels, which are, instead of having bunk beds, they're essentially like built-in cabinets that have double or queen size beds, electric units, outlets, and then lights, and then sometimes have storage. So very different than the kind of the hostels you might have known if you went, even when I was traveling back in 2010, very, very different. In those hostels are people from their 30s to their 60s, probably to their 70s. I just don't know. And a lot of couples. So I think a lot of people made the same decision that we did. They wanted to stay longer. In fact, we talked to some who are, have been traveling for years, very well traveled. And they said the queen bed was amazing. And so they were happy to stay there and save the money so they could stay longer, explore more, see more. Now, if you don't want to take a gamble on that, you can do luxury hotels. So at one point I was going to use my points to spend, 3 to 5 nights, or I could save them for another time. So that's what I'm going to do. And in Boat Quay, we stayed in a place. It was fantastic. The bed was amazing. One of the best sleeps I've had in so long, and it was a queen mattress. And then here, we're also staying in a great place. It's smaller, but fantastic. And again, full of mostly couples who just don't want to spend $300 a night. I would like to come back here and explore that higher end to see if it is worth it. But they are missing kind of that middle class. Well, I guess they're missing the budget class. Middle class has now become these capsules. So Kampong Glam is behind the mosque, is just all of these fantastic restaurants. This spot is very well known to have traditional food of the area. But then also you can see we've got Lebanese here. This is Istanbul Turkish up there. I know there's some Greek. And then you get this amazing view. So we talked about the accommodation. Now the food. The food's been amazing. Singapore is definitely a food city. I would say that you do not need to chase the Singapore gourmand bib unless you really know your food well. Like if you are an expert in Hainanese chicken rice, then yes, go and try the gourmand bib. But the market stalls have so many that are gourmand bib, selected restaurants. They also have local favorites, places that have been around for over 100 years. Like you really can't go wrong. Basically, if you're in a hawker stall and there are people eating there, then it has stood the test of time and you're going to have a fantastic meal. Meals, I would say, if you're getting a protein, like a full complete meal, are USD, probably between $5 and $8. Breakfast, smaller dishes are less. And we have also, I think, our first day actually, we had lamb shank at a restaurant and it was $22. But the quality here is so good. So it was 22 Singaporean dollars, which is probably 17 US. And it was huge. It was lamb shank biryani and Alan and I shared it. All of the meals at the hawker stalls have been fantastic. I've been really shocked at the quality. And so while it is more than I've been paying in other countries in Southeast Asia, the quality is better than home and it's cheaper. So I would just say you get more than what you pay for here. At night, this actually is lit up. And so it's really beautiful. Before meeting Alan, I didn't really have a lot of experience. Didn't really know a lot of, maybe just a handful of people who are actually Muslim. But since having been with him for the last 2 years, I've just really come to love neighborhoods that have like one of the big iconic mosques in this place. I think a lot of people feel uncomfortable if they don't have any experience, and so they avoid it. But at least in Asia, I don't know about the Middle East, at least in Asia, I just find the Muslim communities always been so welcoming. If you want to go and do a tour there, they have clothing that you can put on if you have shorts and a t-shirt on, and you can cover your hair. If you're male, you also need they have something for you too, because you can't wear shorts. So when Alan goes to pray, he actually has to change, or he just borrows something from the mosque so that he's dressed appropriately. So we have talked about neighborhoods, hotels, food, which is so good. Oh, one tip for you that I would say is, if you really want to have great food, a great experience, go to the hawker centers for breakfast. And go, I would say, at like 9:30, because locals have gone to work, and so it's usually kind of like a downtime. There are not a lot of tourists there. And if you don't know what to eat and you want to make sure you get a table, that was my best experience, was at breakfast. And I was actually by myself because Alan slept in. But I was able to talk to people if I didn't know the food, or in some cases with some dishes, I didn't know. They would say, do you want this or this? Do you want this topping? Or what kind of sauce do you want? And I didn't know. And because it was breakfast, they had the time to actually explain things to me, and I wasn't bothering them. If I had done that at lunchtime, it would have been like, move, get out of the way. I'm sure it wouldn't have been like that, but I would have also felt that. At the end of the day, I would say the food alone, it is worth coming to Singapore. It's really great how you can have not only, oh, look at this. Not only can you have so much diversity in terms of having world-class Chinese, Malay, Indian food that is uniquely Singaporean. A lot of the dishes, maybe you had in Malaysia or Thailand or Indonesia, they are different here. They all have their own little unique spin on things because of history, neighborhoods, immigration. There's just so much that the food shares here. But the food alone is worth it. Now let's talk about transportation. I think the best way to get around, and you'll see these people, is with your 2 feet. The sidewalks here are fantastic. Just the quality of being able to walk. Most people here, even locals, are wearing sneakers around. Do not wear flip-flops, thongs, whatever you want to call them. Most people will think it's inappropriate because that's what you wear at home. But also, it's not good for the pavement. We tried to walk almost everywhere. We did try to take the subway on our first day, and it was such a disaster. So, first subway that we went to, the MRT, they told us that they don't sell tickets anymore, individual tickets. You just tap with your Visa card, which is great if each person in your party has a Visa card. So, for example, I had only one on me because one got compromised in Thailand. And Alan doesn't have a Visa card because in Indonesia, it's considered bad to have credit. So he just pays for everything with his Visa debit card, which does not count. You can't tap that. So I was just so confused. Like, what would a family of 4 do? Or 6? That means they have to have 6 cards, 4 cards, and I thought, this can't be right. So later on, after Gardens by the Bay, we went to the Bayfront MRT, and I asked them again. I said, is there a tourist pass or some kind of day pass? And they said, yes, but we don't sell them at every MRT. We only sell them at a select. So they gave me this little sheet that I was going to have to go to another MRT. And so I just thought, this is too hard. So we just took a Grab. So I think we've taken a Grab 3 times. Each time it's been 9 Singaporean dollars. And at the end of the day, I think it will have worked out for us to be more cost effective to take a Grab with 2 people than to have taken the subway. I'm sad about it because I really wanted to take public transportation, but at the same time, I couldn't do it. It just got too frustrating. So if you've taken it and you think it's great, please let me know in the comments below, or help me, like, how do I figure this out? Let's move on to activities, because I think the best thing to do, as you just saw, is to walk around. There are a lot of things to see, beautiful green spaces. It's an urban green city. So they try to put as much green into the city as possible, and it is really green and wonderful. And it's very walker friendly and bicycle friendly too. To rent a motorbike, I think, is actually quite difficult, so we didn't do that this time. Alan has his international driver's license, and actually Indonesian licenses are also accepted here, but it just, again, seemed a little bit challenging, so we thought, let's wait until next time. But the best thing to do is walk around here. There are a lot of free activities, a lot of gardens, artwork. If you go to Gardens by the Bay and it's not raining, there's a whole section you can actually enjoy. There's a light show at 7:45, which we were not able to do because it rained every night. But Singapore, I think, is really a city that you come to enjoy local life. Like, you come to walk around, see how people live. You come to eat, to go to the coffee shops. Shopping, I don't think so. If you need to get anything, I would go to Little India. Mustafa says everything, because just the import taxes and things makes things so much more expensive here. This is November 30th. For the last 8 days, it has rained actually quite a bit. That is not bad if you're a tourist and you just want to walk around, see things, do some things, you know, get an umbrella, you will be fine. If you are trying to make a YouTube video, it is challenging in that it's just, I can't fly my drone. All the drone footage that you will see for this video series, I had to use stock footage because I did want to show things from the air because it's spectacular. And, you know, doing things like when I went to Little India, it was so white and bright and ugly, and that's such a colorful neighborhood that it was really just a shame. I felt really bad about it. But as a regular tourist, the nice thing about rainy season is that fewer crowds, you get to do more things. Less people around, you don't have to fight as much for space. So that part is actually quite nice. Well, not surprisingly, number one, my favorite activity was going to the hawker centers. It was great. I think, you know, as I said to you, I went in the mornings. It was wonderful. I really enjoyed my interactions with people and then also other locals who helped me along the way, especially when I was on my own. Sometimes I think if people see me with Alan, they assume he's local and so they don't help me. But when I'm on my own, people do help me quite a bit, which is great. So that was number one. Number two, I guess it's like low end, high end. Number two was the Singapore Flyer. That was fantastic. You know, I have done a lot of different dining, like excursion plus some kind of dining component over the last 14 years of running my website, Bacon is Magic. And so I've been invited to a lot of these things. And usually the excursion is why people come and the food is like, it's okay. It's, you know, it's pretty good. But here I would say the menu had caviar, foie gras, lobster, wagyu beef. Like it started with an amuse-bouche. It had so many courses. It had a cocktail and they made a mocktail for us by request. The service was amazing. And so the price of the Singapore Flyer dining, to have both that quality, that caliber of food on the Singapore Flyer, that was a unique experience. And I really enjoyed the capsule afterwards, learning a little bit more about the history of Singapore. So I would say my advice is, or our approach is, we went low. We saved our money on things that we didn't care about, like accommodation. And then we spent it, or we were hosted, but I would spend it. I would actually spend my money on the Singapore Flyer dining, on things that were worth it. And so I think you should choose at least one thing to splurge on, and then where you can not splurge on some things, like water, because you can drink the water here. Probably one of the best things about Singapore, I just miss that about home. You can drink the water here. In both the hostels that I stayed at, they still had water purifiers, so you could drink the water, but also have cold or hot water. So that was fantastic. Yeah, I mean, final thoughts on Singapore. I love it. I really, really love it. Alan said even with the rules made him feel more comfortable. He said knowing that you can't jaywalk, there are all of these things that you can't do, actually made him feel more secure because he knew where he stood. As long as he followed the rules, then he would be fine. We were actually told that if you're stopped by police for not following the rules, they will ask you for your passport. Usually take a picture or make note of it. And if you get caught twice with notes on your passport, the next time that you try to enter might be a little bit more difficult. But an interesting thing, but he said he actually felt more comfortable. As an Indonesian, he felt very welcomed because there's so much Javanese and Indonesian influence here that people were very kind to him. And so for me, since having met him, my measuring stick for how welcoming, how friendly a country is not how they treat the white woman who has a camera and recording their entire experience. It's how they treat my partner who's Indonesian. And to be honest, we've had issues in countries and don't go back because of it. So if you're planning a trip to Singapore, please let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to help you. Happy to talk about my experiences, where I stayed in both Boat Quay and here in Kampong Glam. I'll link to below. I stayed in a hostel, but I believe they're also connected to a hotel. And the uncle, or Ron, who manages the place, is so great. He gave us so many suggestions, just such a good resource for food, for transportation, all of these things. And I'll see you in the next video, which will be in a new country, but I'm not going to tell you which one. See you then.